Hi English 101I students, welcome to week 10 of our course. I hope you had a really great weekend. The weather was so absolutely perfect the last couple of days. I had a chance to experience a little bit of it out in the woods today, and it was really just refreshing and just wonderful. It's my favorite time of the year. And I also can't believe that it's really only about a month until we finish our semester. It's week 10. So by about week 14 or so, we're going to be wrapping things up. So we're well on our way to heading towards the end of the semester, and I think we're all doing a great job. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go to course information, and we'll download our course calendar just to see what's coming up for this week. Okay, so if we open this up and we head all the way down to week 10. Okay, so you'll see we just have 2 items on the agenda for this week. So you're going to work on revising your personal argumentative essay, developing it into the final version, and that will be due Sunday, October 25th. And at the same time, we're going to move on to the following folder. Activity 6.1 is actually related to the final version of the personal argumentative essay, but it's moving us into the next module folder. And we have a total of 7 module folders. So we're kind of heading close to the end, to the really major work that we need to accomplish this semester. Okay, so now that we know we have 2 assignments, let's go ahead and take a look at where we need to be with all of this. So we'll head to My Classroom, into Course Modules, and I'm actually going to go into Module 6 first because there's an assignment that I would like you to do in Module 6 before you really get into revising your personal argumentative essay. Okay, so this assignment is kind of the entry point into Module 6, where we'll be working on our next essay assignment, the comparative evaluation. So as you see with all of our due dates, assignment 6.1 is due this coming Sunday, October 25th, just like the final version of your personal argumentative essay. And you will see in 6.1 that it's going to be somewhat similar to the grammar focus that you did in 5.1 for the narrative essay, but there are a couple of key differences that I'll explain to you here. So you'll see once again that you've got the grammar diagnostic quiz attached. This is the list of numbers that you use, or that I use, to put editing comments in yellow into your essay drafts. So I always like to attach it here just so you have it handy. So as I tell you in the first paragraph, just like the narrative essay a couple of weeks ago, this again is going to be tailored to the individual needs of each student. I always think at this point in your development, rather than giving you generic grammar exercises to work on, which may or may not be useful for you as an individual, it's better to look at what you are specifically doing in the context of your own writing. It's actually much more helpful that way. So we'll use this grammar diagnostic list to look at the errors that you made this time in your personal argumentative essay that you might have made in the narrative essay, and we're going to continue looking for some patterns. So let's look first at number 1. Just like you did in the narrative essay a couple of weeks ago, I want you to do a quick analysis of the numbers I marked in yellow comments in your personal argumentative draft. So you did this for the narrative essay, now I want you to do it for the personal argumentative draft. But this time, I really want you to pay attention to what patterns you noticed in comparison to your narrative essay. So compare what you noticed in this personal argumentative draft to the patterns you observed in the narrative draft. Have you improved in any of your pattern areas since the narrative essay? So I want to know if what you observed in that first essay has influenced you or impacted you as you wrote this second essay. Okay. So just as an example, I like to use number 11 for comma splices and run-on sentences because it's a common mistake that lots and lots of people make. So I just like to use it as an example. So let's say that was one of your pattern areas in the narrative essay. You noticed a lot of number 11s, a lot of comma splices. Are you still noticing a lot of that error, or do you believe you've improved in that area? If you still make that error frequently, why do you think you're doing that? If you improved it, what do you think helped you improve? So I'll ask you to write a short paragraph of 3 to 5 sentences explaining your findings, and include that paragraph at the top of the essay draft that you'll attach in the next step. And you'll see an example of this, so you'll know exactly how to put it together. So this may seem like an unconventional kind of grammar or editing activity, but it's really meant to just make you think and reflect a little bit. Number 2, this time instead of correcting specific pattern areas in your personal argumentative draft, I'm just going to ask you to choose 5 errors that you're finding most difficult to correct on your own, because I want to make sure you're actually going back to these numbers that I'm marking and thinking about how to make corrections to them, or that you're actually attempting to make corrections. Okay, so attempt a correction for the 5 errors that you choose. Along with the correction, include an explanation of why you decided to make that correction. And here it's really important. Don't worry about getting the correction right or wrong. This doesn't matter. What matters most to me is that you learn to notice your error patterns and your thought process in trying to correct them. Okay, and it's also fine to guess or say that you really don't know how to make a correction. It's totally fine. I mean, I want you to realize what you know and what may be still a little bit difficult for you. Because then if you go to the writing center or you have a friend help you edit your essay, you can say, I know I have trouble with comma splices. I always seem to overlook them. Or verb tenses are just a pain. I always seem to use the wrong one in the wrong place. You'll kind of know what you're going into a tutoring session with. Okay. All right, and like I say here, I will certainly give you feedback that will help you understand any errors that are difficult to correct. So another important point about this is that even though this assignment isn't technically due until Sunday the 25th, I strongly encourage you to work on it as early as possible in the coming week so I can look at your corrections and give you editing help for the final version of your essay. So I would aim to work on assignment 6.1 maybe like between Monday and Wednesday. I'll keep checking in the list of assignments that I receive, and I'll go ahead and give you feedback on it. And you can keep checking and look to see if you've gotten any feedback. If for some reason I overlook yours or don't get to it right away, definitely send me a reminder. Say, hey, Mrs. Rojas, have you had a chance to look at my assignment 6.1 yet? I'd really like to get some feedback on that. I'll do my best to keep up with it and make sure that I'm looking at those early in the week. Okay. I also give you here an example of how another student did this assignment. So if you open up 6.1 example, it will show you exactly what you need to include there. So I'll open it up and we'll set it to all markup. So we have all the information we need. So here would be the number 1, the kind of analysis that you've done of how much you've improved certain areas or where you're still struggling. So this student said, after comparing my error patterns in my narrative essay and my personal argumentative essay, I think that I'm still having trouble with comma splices. So I used this again as an example. I think this is because connecting complete sentences or thoughts with commas is not a writing error in my native language. Since I need to watch out for this in English, I think a good strategy would be reading one paragraph at a time and looking very carefully for commas. Then I can see if I'm joining sentences with commas only and no connector words. Another good strategy would be using Ctrl+F to search for all the commas in my document so I can find them quickly and easily. So hint, hint, I gave you a couple of strategies there for helping with comma splices. Okay, so you could write a paragraph similar to that. That's a model that you can follow. And so this writer, then I chose 5 sample errors. This writer made some corrections or even said that they were confused. You can take a look through these. So the first one was a number 5, and this writer said, I took out the article an. I think this is because I don't need the singular article an before a plural general noun, but I'm not sure. It's okay to say this. Okay? It's fine to say, I think that's what it is, but I'm not really sure. Totally fine. Then in the second one, the writer said, I'm not sure if I should use that or maybe where instead of which here. I'm confused about this one. Okay, so the writer's making a guess. They're trying out different possibilities, but they're also letting me know that they're not quite sure how to make this correction. And you'll see other examples. So feel free to make this kind of conversational. You can say, hey, I'm confused about this one, or is this right? Or, is it this one or that one? It's completely fine to just think through it and not have all the right answers. That's part of learning, right? So this will be a great example that you can follow. So just choose 5 errors that you're struggling with a little bit, or you're unsure about, or even ones that you are sure about, and just give me the explanation for it. All right, heading back over here. And I also always give a third option here, just because everybody's different and some writers have more errors than others. So if you find fewer than 5 errors to correct in your essay, just focus on what you do find. If you don't find any errors, which means that I didn't mark any or very few numbers in your essay, choose 2 editing strengths in your draft, point out 3 to 4 examples of those strengths in your essay, and explain why you think you did them well. Okay, so like always, if you're not sure how to proceed, just get in touch with me or come to my virtual office hours and I'll be glad to walk you through it. Okay, so that's assignment 6.1. So similar to 5.1, but just a little different to customize it for this essay. Okay, now we're going to backtrack once you've finished that, and we're going to go into Module 5. We just need one link over there in Module 5. So all the way down at the bottom, once you have finished revising your personal argumentative essay, remember that you should take a look both at my feedback that I have already given to everybody. You should also take a look at the peer review comments you got from your partner in your group wikis. Take all of them into consideration. Go visit the Writing Center. I've heard from at least one student who said that it was a very, very helpful tutoring session, and she was very glad that she went. I have seen a couple of you in my office hours, and I think they were really productive sessions. So if you need help, if you need to go visit the Writing Center, if you need to come do an office hours visit with me, please do it. You're more than welcome to do both of those. And once you are confident that you've got it all together, you've already done assignment 6.1, and you've thought about your editing process, go ahead and submit the final version of your personal argumentative essay here at this link by Sunday, October 25th, 11:59 p.m. So those are our 2 assignments for this week. I look forward to seeing your final version and seeing all the good revisions that you've done. I hope you continue to enjoy our lovely fall weather and look forward to the end of a successful semester in a few weeks. And anything you need, don't hesitate to get in touch with me. Have a great week.